Hey, aloha everyone. Michelle Melendez with blossominnerwellness.com and standtogetherhawaii.com. And I was sent this video yesterday and it absolutely shocked me. This video shows the containers that held those who transitioned from the Maui fire. So there are 9 containers from the FBI. The FBI brought in 9 containers. Each container can hold 60 deceased. And there are also, this video is also going to share the census of Lahaina before and after the fire. And it's also going to share some testimony from locals, as well as the governor, Hawaii governor, that shares the number of missing people and how it can go down from 1,050 people missing to only 102 deceased, officially deceased, is pretty much, in my opinion, impossible. But let me just share with you first the makeshift morgue that was brought in by the FBI. And we all know the FBI is always there to tell the truth. Wink, wink. Here we go. Yeah, let me just show this and you'll just see FBI here setting it up.
Masters that families who would normally be busy at work and school this week are making trips to the county morgue to identify loved ones. Our Chelsea Davis reports from Wailuku.
Family members have been showing.
Want to pause it for a second? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of these containers, makeshift containers that they can set up anywhere in the world. They can just bring them on in.
Up here at the Maui Police Department forensic facility in Wailuku. Although their loved ones haven't been officially identified, they tell me they know in their heart that they're here. Some even brought tea leaf to line the perimeter for protection. Tony and Brenda Ke'au came to MPD's forensic facility in Wailuku to pay their respects. He says he knows deep down that his mother, 83-year-old Gwendolyn Kanani Pua'u, who lived off Lahaina Luna Road, is here.
I feel sorry for all the families, what they lost. They lost their family, their homes, and Maui is hurting.
One by one, Matson containers showed up to the facility on Tuesday. I saw morgue operations specialists loading and offloading human remains into 2 of them. Officials say some containers are full of extra supplies that were brought in to handle the magnitude of this catastrophe. Reporting in Wailuku, Chelsea Davis, Hawaii News Now.
So I want to go now to the kids, 2556, because a lot of people are always asking me, what about the children?
This is not even the worst of it. Still get dead bodies in the water floating and on the seawall. They've been sitting there since last night. We've been pulling people out since last night, trying to save people's lives. And I feel like we're not getting the help we need.
And I want to continue with him, actually.
The day looked like night.
I seen a woman, and she was, pretty burnt up. Not to the point where she would die, but pretty bad. And I gave her a ride, and somebody just told me turn around and go back grab another one. They was in a lot of pain. Some of them.
So this guy was going in and out of Lahaina rescuing people.
I grab them, and then I feel bad for them. Like I grab them, and they scream. I do remember that everybody lost their slippers. I'll tell you that. And the ground was super hot. So, and I was in slippers myself, and it was hot from my feet. I saw dead bodies, smoke, burnt people hiding from the fire that were dead.
There was a group of people hiding behind a dumpster. It was their only method to try to hide from the fire.
And they died.
All together. Is that what you saw?
Yes. That was pretty much what it was. The worst part is the kids.
You saw children who perished?
So I want to go to what happened when this Nick Sorter, who actually asked the Maui mayor, what about the children? How many of the cadavers that they have are children? And this is what happened when he asked this question.
The Maui Police Department. Okay, and what's
Where have all the children gone, and no parents on the news crying, looking for the kids? Something is very strange in Maui. Where are all the children? 2,000 missing children.
right? You're literally pushing me.
The press conference is
I
over.
don't fucking care if the press conference is over. Get out of the way. Sorry. All right, so sorry, 110 cadavers, but we can't identify. We can't identify how many of them are children. This is get out of my fucking dude. Get off my.
So he just said 110 cadavers, and we cannot identify which ones are children. And the mayor is just ignoring him, walking away, ignoring him, and his bodyguards are pushing him, Nick, out of the way and assaulting him, basically. And let me go over here, 1325.
And is the tragic finding that you would imagine. Still, fires come through, and it's hard to recognize anybody, but they're able to determine if someone did perish. I can share, I've twice been in. I was there Thursday and then yesterday, and I chose not to go into Lahaina today to be totally.
So let me just tell you something very strange. Why is he wearing a stethoscope? Why is he in scrubs? Is he going to go into surgery or something? Or he's hoping to find somebody to help? This is very weird why he's wearing that. I thought that when I first saw this at the beginning, but I think it's just for a show. I really, really do. I think he's just showing, I'm a doctor. So I'm credible. So what I say is credible. That's how I'm taking that.
Honest, there's nothing to see. But that's what you see, and obviously there will not be any survivors in the area left. And now, as we put up some temporary cell capacity, people are calling each other, so the number of missing went from in the 2000s down to 1,300. And look, our hearts will break beyond repair, perhaps, if that means that many more dead. None of us think that, but we are prepared for many tragic stories. They will find 10 to 20 people per day probably until they finish. And it's probably going to take 10 days. It's impossible to guess, really. The fire was so perilous that it took lives, it didn't leave survivors. Wow. That's really what you're experiencing. When you see mostly fatalities and very few injuries, that tells you it was a natural disaster. Look, if you put a fire truck in the way of the flames that were coming through at 1,000 miles an hour, the fire truck would have been incinerating the people. Yeah.
So this next one is on Governor Green's statement of 1,050 bodies are unaccounted for. And how does it go from 150 bodies accounted for to all of a sudden 102 died and there's zero missing? Zero missing. This just doesn't make sense.
Go now to Hawaii's Governor Joshua Green in Honolulu. Good morning. Thank you for getting up so early, and I'm so sorry for what is going on in your state.
Thank you, Margaret.
Governor, can you tell us how many are still unaccounted for, and how long will it take to identify remains?
More than 1,000 are unaccounted for, about 1,050. It will take several weeks still. Some of the challenges are going to be extraordinary. As you reported, 85% of the land of the impact zone has been covered now by what amounts to an army of search and rescue teams and 41 dogs. So 85% of the land's been covered. Now we go into the larger buildings, which require peeling back some of the floors and structures. That last 15%.
So I want to now go over to the FEMA person. I'm sorry, fireman who was actually finding bodies and counting them and whatnot. I didn't put this down. Here it is.
I was trying to ask a question. We can't get the answer for it.
So this is Todd Maglica, Tacoma, Washington, Battalion Fire Chief, FEMA Search and Rescue Task Force, CBS interview. And let me press play for this.
At the time of this fire. Meanwhile, a FEMA official tells me that more lives could have been saved had he activated those sirens.
Todd Maglioka is leading one of the 28 search and rescue task forces combing through Lahaina and collecting human remains.
Where are you finding most of the remains lately as you continue your search?
Anywhere where there's a bed.
Anywhere where there's a bed, he said. Anywhere where there's a bed.
Anywhere where there's a bed.
A bed.
People were asleep.
People were asleep. People were in various stages of fleeing their location. As many attempted to escape a wall of racing flames.
3 of my friends and 1 for 2 dogs died.
From Maui's Lahaina.
Everybody we know lost their homes. Every apartment.
We don't know anyone yet who kept their homes.
James and Tennille Perugaman sent us this video showing the damage in Lahaina. Burned out cars just left in the street.
If these cars are probably trying to get out of town, with my guess, we're going to make it. Exactly like a war zone. People, dead people in the streets, dead animals in the streets, cars abandoned, everything burnt. Looks like it got bombed. It really does.
You actually saw bodies in the street?
Yes.
So, let me actually, I'm going to continue to play it.
Down with my little brother in it.
When the brother texted to say he saw fire, he says they eventually found the remains of his 15-year-old brother clutching the family's dog.
I should have even stayed that day. I should not have gone to work. I could have been one of the victims, or I could have saved my little brother.
So, yeah, I want to finish off with the census of Lahaina, and that's right here.
So let's take a look at some numbers here. There were over 13,261 people living in Lahaina pre-fire, according to the census released October 10th, 2023. So according to the 2022 census, there was 12,906 residents in the town of Lahaina. So I remember when they released these numbers on the news here locally, this raised a lot of concern and debate, and the internet exploded with theories and conspiracies.
So I want to just read this out loud. It's students from Lahaina Complex, 3,000 as of August 8th enrollment in Lahaina Complex, and students who have re-enrolled in other public schools, 538, students who have enrolled in the state distance learning program, 438, and the remainder of students who have not re-enrolled in another public school or opted for distance learning is 2,025.
Released by the Department of Education of children that didn't register or were not contactable for school was 2,025. So what I admired was the Maui Fire People's Locator. As a Facebook page, you can scroll down on the page and look for names of people that you might know and find out the condition, whether they've been deceased or found alive. But what I found very interesting is the number of people that are on this list. When you scroll to the bottom, there's only 6,359. Now this is a subject that a lot of people don't know about. They're actually working in Lahaina from other countries with their green card. Mexico having the strongest population of over 7,500 on just the island of Maui. None of these individuals were counted or been reported. From everything that has been discussed in this video.
So I want to stop share there. So obviously the 102, it's pretty much impossible for just 102 official count of the narrative, especially only three being children when children were left home alone. And I do want to do some type of notice of liability to these, in my opinion, criminals and people who have allowed for this attack, because I believe it was an attack on Maui. And please share, show your support for this work by sharing it and subscribing. I am going to put another video on my Rumble channel and not YouTube because it does show dead bodies of the deceased, and this one body is this man, and they fully skin, everything intact, and maybe they died from smoke inhalation, but this one body, his hand is up, is up. He's lying on the ground, his hand is up, and half of his body is charred. And I'm going to show that on my Rumble channel. So if you do want to see that, please subscribe to the Rumble channel below. And let's just do a prayer. YouTube's censoring me out right and left, and so I don't want to put it on YouTube. Okay. Great Spirit, Divine Creator, we know that you've got this. We know that there's some type of plan, and that these people who are with you right now, Great Spirit, and feeling so much love that we cannot feel in a human body, that these people are at peace, those who've transitioned on, that they are at peace, and they are feeling a love from you. And we just know, Great Spirit, that the light is shining not only on Lahaina and on Maui, but all places around the world where people have been murdered, and it's been called a wildfire. We trust in you, Great Spirit, that you are helping shine the light, and we get to watch as those who do not value human life, who stand and speak lies through their teeth, we get to watch as they are peaceably removed from office, either voluntarily stepping down, taken away in handcuffs, or retiring, or whatever way that is the most benefit for the people to see the truth of what has happened in Lahaina and in other places around the world. We know, Great Spirit, we ask right now that these attacks stop, that no more people have to be harmed, and we bind any negative darkness that is trying to continue these attacks. We bind them in the blood of Yeshua, who did the most sacrifice, which was satisfying the contract of our death. We bind any beings, any negative entities from doing any more harm and any more attacks on the people in the world. We bind them, Great Spirit. We know that that is done. We know that they are bound and they can no longer do harm. We call that forth. We give so much gratitude, Great Spirit, Divine Creator, who's moving the sun and running the tides in the ocean. We call that forth now, and it is done. We know it is done. It is done not only, here's this little guy right here again, not only in the name of Yeshua, through the blood that satisfied the contract of our death, we call freedom in, we call peace in, we call truth in right now. And we know that it is done, Great Spirit. We know it is done. And we give so much gratitude to our own guidance and to the thousands upon thousands of angels. There's so many more angels than there are demons, so many more. It's a flood of angels. We call them forth now to do their part in whatever way that calls to them to bring peace into the planet, to bring light into the planet, to bring truth into the planet, and to honor those who have lost their lives. We honor them now with our voices, with sharing videos like this, and with trusting in you, Great Spirit. Divine Creator, we trust you. We totally trust you. And so it is. Sending you a lot of aloha. Please share this video, like, subscribe to my Rumble channel. And also, I do want to do a shout out to the sponsor, who is Ace of Coins, ACEOFCOINS. If you want to learn how to lower or eliminate your taxes, license your biometric data so that big tech will have a harder time using your image, and also buying Bitcoin tax-free, please go to aceofcoins.com. And a shout out to the Voice of Kona Radio. Mahalo for listening on the islands, 100.5 FM. Mahalo, everyone. Aloha.